Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video, I will be giving my thoughts on the pre-patch event for Shadowlands. Now, I've seen some videos come out about this already, and most of them are just kind of negative, negative thoughts on it, and I will have negative thoughts myself, don't worry. But I also try to balance it out with a little bit of positive and a little bit of understanding sentiment as well, to go along with it. So, starting off, I completely understand the negative sentiment around it because for me personally, with Shadowlands being pushed back, I got a new computer for Shadowlands because my old thing just wasn't going to be able to cut it. Um, and so I'm sitting here with a new computer and nothing to do World of Warcraft wise besides make some achievement videos and you know just the normal like little stuff that I could do on in the game that is somewhat fun to me, like getting achievements. But I don't have a ton of achievements to get, and I don't have a bunch of stuff to do, so I haven't been playing very much. Is the long story short there. Haven't been playing very much World of Warcraft, and that's unfortunate. And with the pre-patch event, I was looking forward to maybe playing every day or playing, you know, almost every day or playing multiple hours on certain days, and that has not been the case. So there just is not much to do at all, and that is a little bit disheartening. And basically, if you're in a situation like me where you want to play but you don't really have a reason to play that much, I completely get it, and I'm not going to fault anybody for saying negative things about that because it is really disheartening. Just the feeling you get when you have nothing to do on your favorite game, it is a negative feeling. So I totally get it, and so basically, I already have a video out on what you do for the pre-patch, but you basically do the intro quests, and then you have some dailies you can do every day, and then the rewards are lackluster. It's mostly catch-up gear. So on your main character, like if you play a lot, your main character, the gear is worthless, and then except for transmog, and if you might already have that transmog, it's not like a unique transmog. So that's an issue in itself. And then like you can farm these rares, which is I'll get to that as a positive thing as well. But that's every 20 minutes. You might want to target what certain rares that you want, and then you just log in for those. And without anything to supplement it, it's extremely lackluster. Now there is another week. There's another little there's extra that's coming out next week essentially. So there will be some more things to do for sure. And maybe it'll feel better when there's that little bit more to do, but unfortunately just was not great. We've also had really good pre-patch events for Legion, and BFA even had a pretty good pre-patch event. So we've been spoiled a little bit in the most recent times. I remember thinking similar things about other pre-patch events, that they were a little bit lackluster with not much to do, similar to this one. So maybe going back to the roots there, in certain ways, but this one is definitely going to be in the lower tier of enjoyability. I don't know if that's a word or not. So that's enough of the negative. Let's get into a little bit of the positive, and there's not much positive, but the rare spawn thing. So every 20 minutes in Ice Crown, a new rare spawn comes up. These are on a set rotation, which is a positive, and set time, which is positive. And the only negative about it is that there's nothing to really fill in. Like if you do want to do the dailies, like you want the transmog or you need the armor, even the dailies don't take long to do. So there's not much of a filler to do in between these rares, and that there's very little reason to stay logged in, frankly. So I have been targeting the rares I wanted. I got the bag. Everybody wants the bag. And then I've been trying to get the blue proto drake because that's one of the farmable mounts that I still don't have. And the fact that you can get it from this is really cool. That's something they should do going forward, in my opinion. Some of these mounts, if the character that drops the mount can in any way tie to that pre-patch event, then why not do it, right? Like, or have like an image of it, but it still could drop a mount, or an image of the mount, but it's like the same mount or something. There's all kinds of ways you could get around it and have it be pretty cool. So I really love that. I love that you can get those certain items that those mobs dropped back in the day. You can get them during this pre-patch event. That's really cool. I 100% on board on that. It's a very positive thing. I think that's something they should do going forward. I like the idea of the transmog thing, but as always I say, make the transmog unique. Make it silly, or offer two. Offer a serious one and a silly one. by silly I mean maybe you could get the like a gauntlet that goes all the way up your arm, and it's like patchwork. So imagine patchwork or patches attached deskwood. So you get like an arm, a gauntlet that goes all the way up your arm, and it's patchwork's right arm. And you get his left arm. Then you get the helmet that's his head, and so you're basically running around in a costume similar to like that Wendigo costume, or like the fairy outfit, whatever. But it's like instead you're like the big fat patches, and that'd be cool, right? That's just fun. That's just cool. And some people won't give a shit about it, but other people will, and therefore, it's kind of cool. So I mean that's my thoughts on that, and like the positives of it is that you can take that away from it. And the understanding part that I wanted to get to as well is I think with everything that's going on this year, it's important to note that, it doesn't matter what your feelings are on virus and stuff like that, but uh, the main thing is like regardless of how you feel, regardless of how the employees feel, they're working from home, they're doing stuff differently as well, and Shadowlands wasn't ready there, and to think that that's not at least part of it would be naive, I think. So you only have so many resources. How many are you going to put into making like the best pre-patch event versus trying to make the launch of your expansion that you want to like energize and grow your game? How much resources do you put into each thing? And I think here's hoping that Shadowlands launch is pretty good, because that would be then the right choice. Now, if Shadowlands launch is not good, like BFA's, then maybe you're like, well, maybe you should have just made the pre-patch really good and have something memorable there. But my hope is that the Shadowlands launch is pretty good. That doesn't mean it has to be great. It just means that it has to be pretty good. Because what happens, like, a BFA gets a bad rep because the launch was not great, right? So the BFA launch was, let's say, bad even. Let's just say bad for argument's sake. BFA launch was bad. But by the end of the game, it was pretty good. Most people kind of liked where things were at the end of the game. Some people just hated corruption and stuff, but other people loved it and loved all the cool stuff they could do with it. So it went from bad to pretty good. So I think if they could start Shadowlands at pretty good, then you could possibly have like a great expansion. And I think that's kind of like how Legion was really, where it probably only started as good, even like not even pretty good, maybe even decent because of the lack of alts and stuff you could do. But by the end of Legion, it was like very good. So I think that's kind of a model where you just want to have a better than average launch, and hopefully with them diverting their resources to that, in theory, and then not focusing on the pre-patch as much, maybe that'll make a difference, and that's what I'm hopeful for. It's better to be positive, in my opinion, than negative, and that's just what I'm hoping for. So that's my thoughts on the pre-patch event. Here's hoping next week adds a little bit more fun to it, and maybe something to do in between the rare spawns and Ice Crown or something. So again, hopeful for that. I don't have high hopes for the pre-patch event. I'm mostly worried about Shadowlands, so we're getting closer, and I'm very, very excited for Shadowlands. That's about it for this video. As always, I do ask you to subscribe to the channel because it helps me out so much. And other than that, everybody have a good one.